The Driving While Awesome podcast is recorded live to SD card at the Beeline Motor Club in Santa Cruz, California.
Don't yell at me, all right? I don't know what you're saying right now. You're like speaking a different language. Art had like a dog that was not behaving and stuff. You just like get rid of it.
Dude, right? I would sell him so fast.
I know. Why did she walk away? I'm like, oh, that's Renee Zellweger.
I enjoyed waking up to a Ford GT next to me.
I saw that.
That was rad.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like there's stuff like occasionally you get some cool stuff.
You woke up next to it?
It was parked
I
next
just
to
woke up and like, whoa, there it is in my room. It was parked next to me.
Big room. Welcome to Driving While Awesome, part of the Hagerty Podcast Network. My name is Warren.
I am Lane.
And I'm Art.
We did it. We're here.
Oh, that was smooth.
That wasn't too bad, right?
One take. Of it.
One take, man.
I think last time we stumbled out of the gate.
Oh, we stumbled hard.
We did. That's right.
Couple restarts.
We even continued to stumble through the early parts, but we got through it, you know. And maybe if people didn't notice, we did it.
That's right. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything, but we made it. We're here. We have very little to talk about.
Nothing.
We don't have any cold water, so we're drinking Coors Lights.
Yeah.
They're actually really refreshing.
They are.
And we're not sponsored.
Sponsored by Coors Light.
If Coors Light wants to sponsor this podcast, please hit us up.
Like Lee Keen, he puts all the Coors Banquet shit all over his cars, and like he's not sponsored by them, but he just really likes the way it looks.
Maybe that's a move. Like
awesome.
You keep doing it until finally they just come and give you stuff.
That might be a move where he's just like, all right, eventually if it happens, that's awesome, but I'm still enjoying what I'm doing in the meantime.
What company would you rep a livery of?
Marlboro.
You would?
It's a good livery.
Well, like if you, for your black 911, if you were asked to put a company's either retro or modern, what would you feel comfortable like really supporting?
I know exactly. Dude, on which one? On the 911? Sofina for sure.
Sofina.
What about Rauch? Juice. Martinelli's?
Martinelli's, that'd be pretty
That'd
rad.
be pretty tight.
That'd be pretty cool. Dude. Roots.
And it would be like JPS, right?
The one I thought of,
gold.
I don't think I'd ever go through with this, but I've used their product for a very long time with my cars, and it has
Chapstick.
Oh, dude,
that's a good livery.
Oh, how about Canon? Well,
Canon would be sick.
But you're a Sony guy now, right?
Sony guy now. Canon's way better.
Sony's not bad too, but yeah.
Sony would be cool too.
Canon chapstick livery?
Yeah.
Canon chapstick.
Dude, yes.
Down. I would convert to Canon.
What if you made chapstick that looked like a little lens? You don't have the coffee mugs? Didn't you have one of those coffee mugs?
I had it. Yeah, 70 or 200. Okay. White one.
Don't yell at me, all right? I don't know what you're saying right now.
Violent.
You're like speaking a different language. But little chapstick that looks like
you know
what I'm saying.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Art. So what I was getting at was a Chevron.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I kind of like the colors.
Yeah.
You know, it's a decent graphic. The letters are kind of cartoony, but maybe go vintage Chevron. A 1989
okay, that
Chevron.
very flat letters, like the really clean ones.
I mean, Shell's pretty good too.
Shell's good. I just don't, I haven't used them as much.
Okay.
And what are you thinking?
I'd probably go Valero.
Yeah.
What about an AM PM? Too much good stuff. I bet that's a good colors, huh? With the,
pretty good, huh?
Throw like a meatball on the side. Yeah. What am I doing? So
you're doing Oberto.
If I was gonna do throwback,
Or it's like I would go
vintage.
Amazon.
Amazon would be rad, dude.
Apple.
Whole Foods, huh?
That's why you lived in the city.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Be all green and white.
Yeah. So the Olivetti, you know that like there was like the
I hate that answer.
Italian. I think they still manufacture white goods, but they were originally like a computer electronics, like appliance company.
Oh yeah.
But I know they definitely made computers because I've seen the early like those classic fucking.
But why?
Keyboards with the little thing.
I mean, I get that it existed.
Because the colors are awesome. So one of my favorite cars, because it's got that navy blue and white. It's like navy blue up top, white stripe down the middle, and then navy blue on the bottom. And it has the Olivetti like graphic, like it's just the text like along the side.
I read it.
And it's super clean, very iconic. I like the look. So I think the E30 would look rad as an Olivetti livery. Olivetti livery. But if I was going to go with something modern, I would probably go with Sofina. I just want to say that.
All right. Well, since we're already on questions, let's check out what the listeners have to ask, and then we're going to get into Car Week updates, which are plentiful. I think combined we have like 30 days of memories.
Hundreds of hours.
God, it's so much. I don't even know where to begin.
Mind grapes, dude.
Mind grapes, exactly.
They're in there.
So, SV Expert asks, what was the worst and best car you saw during Car Week? That's a good question.
Worst and best.
Okay, worst car, easy.
Oh, easy. Too. I can't wait. I just can't think of it all.
I forget. Now I'm forgetting what it's called.
Well, okay.
It's the throwback. It's the purple thing. That purple carbon thing.
Oh,
piece of crap.
It's
the one
Hispano-Suiza.
Hispano-Suiza.
They
horrible, dude. That is like a cartoon. It's like a bad. It's like in a cartoon. They're like, in a cartoon, like a coloring book. They're like supercar or something.
Right.
And
it looks like a fake car
thing.
you'd see in an ad for like floor mats that they couldn't use a real car in.
Yeah.
And they're like, we'll just put this in.
That's very complimentary to me. I'd say it's more like
worse.
Corella DeVille's cars. It's like
the rear end is so heavy, dude. It's like so tall and it does this thing.
The carbon looked nice. I'll give it props for that.
Under the purple tint.
Look it up for anyone who hasn't seen it. Hispano-Suiza's new electric supercar. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was electric.
Yeah, it's electric.
Jeez,
it was at
pile.
Amelia, which the funny thing though is that it gets a lot of attention. I think just because it's so flashy. It was also at Motorlux. Polarizing, yeah. That's a really good answer. Actually, that was pretty horrible.
It's horrible too because they actually tried and like I went through a team. And,
I know,
and it's like.
Yeah, it's not great.
And they were renowned for making like gorgeous cars back in the day too. So this is
this is just them buying a brand, whoever it is, like these Russian oligarchs or whoever owns it now.
Oh, really?
I mean, I don't know. I'm not. I'm making it up right now. I'm just saying
it's a very plausible thing. Super, not even closely to as bad. Like that's really bad. But Pagani has just fallen so far off the charts here of a car that is interesting. It's like. And I know technically they're cool and they're fast and they're capable, but they are just so busy and gaudy.
By the way, that car also, like, I remember going to whatever, Car Week in 2009.
It was that
or 8, and that car just came out.
Huayra R.
And it's not that, it's just like, has more stickers on it and more graphics now.
I know, yeah.
It's like more gaudy.
It's a bummer.
Gaudy is definitely the word, for sure.
And then what about the those modern interpretations of like the Alpha and the Lancia?
Yeah, but I don't think they could supposed classify as like the worst cars.
No. Also, super disappointing is the roofs.
That roof Bergmeister thing.
All of them. The two green ones at Motorlux with the huge wheels and modern lights and the all like tan interior. Like
the worst part about it was the rear, dude. Did you see the rear on the Speedster? It is bizarre.
The
dude.
white one.
Yeah.
The Bergmeister thing.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. That thing's horrible.
It's bizarre. Yeah.
The whole car, and it's all skinny. I know they're trying to it harkens back to the old whatever model that was, but it's like, what do you do? And it looks like they got the styling, the people from Peter Nam's company. What's it called?
The carbon one?
Yeah.
Sabon, is it? No.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah.
The Porsche place.
Was it worse?
Gunther Works. It's like they got Gunther Works or Vorsteiner. It's like they got them and said, "Hey, would you design like stylize our car?"
It's one of those another like falling off the deep end from. It's just a stylistic thing. Obviously, they probably drive great, but
Gunther Works are supposed to drive great too.
Yeah. Best cars. Best cars.
The Gordon Murray cars were really cool.
The Polestar
was cool.
Roadster was really cool.
So I really, really liked the Dallara Stradale. Did you see it? Mm-hmm. And that thing was so cool.
Yep.
And it's very small too. It's tiny. It's
By the way, did you know he was at Quail?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had already left.
He doesn't even say what's up.
I just don't talk to Lane.
Hagerty one team.
You sound surprised.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I try to avoid Lane when I can outside of the studio. But
did you see all these cars there?
I didn't see him. I saw him, but not the car. I actually hung out with Ali for a second. Yeah, but
so there you go.
I was there
the Dallara thing's it's cool how small it is and stuff, but it's a little like proportionally challenged in some ways.
I think it's interesting. It's like it reminds me like of a little tiny like LMP car. Or something,
the size is really cool.
And it's got a manual transmission and it's carbon fiber everywhere. Yeah. It's like a
what's the price point
package? They're like $200,000.
Okay, that makes it more interesting. Yeah. If it's under like 200, it's interesting.
Yeah,
yeah, that thing's cool though.
Yeah, that thing was cool. It's one of those things that I never expected to see in person. Like I've heard about them a few years ago, and they just kind of vanished, and then all of a sudden there's one there. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, and I think that is just like one of like 3 that was ever made or something.
Yeah, who knows how many
they're not. That was just in the history of the supercar section at the Quail. The new Singer Turbo.
Man,
I actually thought it was like
awesome.
Seeing it in person made me appreciate it a lot more. Like I didn't appreciate it that much in photos and stuff, but seeing like the little attention to detail in every little facet,
it's really good.
Even the bumpers, like they try and show the accordion, but it's not. It's vents like on this.
It's really good.
And then the rounding of the bumpers and everything's just nicely executed.
Yeah, it's so perfectly executed.
The only flaw I found was on the headliner, like around the window, like the side windows. That strip they used was a little wavy. Like there's a few things, but the car's been around a bit and it's like a one-off. So I'm going to give it a lot of leeway because it is a kind of a prototype.
Yeah, the design overall though is awesome. Yeah, it's because it's so subtle, but like there's a lot going on there.
As far as like a one-car solution, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. It doesn't get much.
It's really sexy.
And I'm looking. Did it have? I guess the only thing I would say with that, like most of those, if it had fluted headlights, it would be so much better.
And that's probably just check the box, right?
I've never seen them on a Singer,
it's a custom size,
that's their Singer thing. But if you did like a new glass with fluting,
I agree.
It would be over the top.
Did they mess with the headlight size, the hole itself?
I doubt it.
Oh, okay. And
I'd say probably the coolest car that I saw, or best car, was that McLaren F1 at RM Sotheby's, just on the display and getting to like really check it out. Also, I was with Andrew and got to kind of walk around with him, and check it out and show him all the details, like the gold plating and center seat and stuff. And he was really into it. So yeah, high downforce gray McLaren F1 with the like red and black interior. It's so iconic and just
it's really cool.
And so is that a red driver's seat? And
yeah, it's got the like almost looks like a Daytona seat where it's like deviated, or
and
the
like black passenger seats.
I think they were all red, but it looked so good. And the guy who owned it originally put 14,000 miles on it in a pretty short period of time. The first service was done and it already had 5,000 miles. So the guy just drove the hell out of it for an F1. Now it'll probably never be driven again, but that was pretty cool.
Very cool car for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one I mentioned, I actually posted about it, was the Bentley Speed 8. It was a 2003 Le Mans winner. And that's a really cool looking car too. Yep. And it's a beautiful like deep green metallic. It's not BRG, I don't think. It's very, very dark, but in the sun it looks awesome. And that's a PlayStation thing though, because I really like driving that car. But it's also just a really cool like story. Like there was like Bentley back like for the first time since like in 70 something years or whatever. And they started in 2001 and then won it in 2003. But the car itself is like, they started with like Audi R8C guts, like the, that LMP car. And then they slowly tinkered with it. They changed the displacement and then like they made it their own by 2003, but it was still sort of the foundation was like an R8, which was a very successful car later. But it's just a trip because they actually do credit both. They'll credit it as like an Audi Bentley like effort, even though it was Bentley everywhere on it.
Interesting.
That's one of those.
3D Lanes is asking, what is your worst experience at Car Week? It doesn't have to be this year. Worst experience. I think seeing all of the Fuel Run, Gold Rush, Monterey Run cars all over town. It wasn't one event, of course, but they're like gnats or like flies buzzing around, and you like can't.
A lot of revving.
And they always run in packs. It's like 3 or more cars at all times. It's like a wrapped Lamborghini, a Nissan GTR, an R8. They're everywhere. Everywhere.
So that's what I didn't answer what my worst car was, and it was that. It was actually
just all of those.
So, but there's like I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen more purple wrapped Lamborghini Huracans in my life. Like it was like I saw so many of them, and it's that obnoxious vibe, and they're super low, and they've got the ADV1 wheels or whatever with like stretch tires, and it's just like, okay.
There were so many of them. I mean, it's hard to explain to someone who wasn't there how many like just supercars were in attendance.
Yeah.
It's like,
especially at the events you were going to, like in the parking lot.
Crazy. Or like
walking out from Motorlux.
Or like high traffic areas like downtown Carmel or Monterey. Every other car is
matte wrapped.
Ferrari, Lamborghini,
yeah,
Bentley. You know what's weird is a lot of modern Porsches, like GT3s, GT3 RSs.
So many
with like stretch tires and graphics and stuff. And
you know, it was so many modern Porsches, and I swear I saw like 2 other G bodies.
Right.
I was like, it was rare to see a G body.
Yeah, I didn't see one either. Can't think of another one.
And then I was with James of Throttle House. We walked to the Quail together, and we were joking about how many Lamborghini Uruses there were just around. And as we walked from that point to the Quail, which is like maybe a half a mile walk on a private road, 3 passed us. It's just like, it's a wacky world now. I think it felt like Car Week was like 110% this year. Like everyone was either pent up or had like, this was their 1 year to go or something. And all the travelers are back from Europe and Asia. And there was like a ton of like wealth, affluence that was being flaunted.
Yeah.
And in the way of like cars, right? Like Rolls-Royce Cullinans, I've seen like 5 in my life on the road up until this point.
Dude, there was Cullinans everywhere I looked.
There was Cullinans everywhere.
More Cullinans than G-Body 911s.
And they were being used as executive transport.
Yeah.
And so it was like, instead of an Escalade, there was a Cullinan. And it's like a $500,000 car. How
many 6x6s did you see?
I only saw one.
3.
Yeah. I saw 2 BMW M3 lightweights and 3 CLK 63 Black Series in the same day. Just driving around.
That's awesome.
That was cool. But the like, you know, revving Huracan and just that whole scene, the AMG GTs and stuff with wrapped matte black, and that was the worst.
I have to throw a little props out for another bad showing. Was at the Bentley booth, the Bentley Bentayga.
Yeah.
The interior door panels painted, airbrushed with their classic Bentleys.
Whoa.
On the interior.
Was that like a special edition?
I don't know what it was, but it was horrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's not good.
Whoa.
Did you get a look at the new Urus, by the way? I didn't get to see the unveiling.
What? I don't get it.
It's the same thing? It was like,
it's a Performante.
Oh, I see.
Dude, are you like,
yeah. And
the specs are like, it's weird now. You're like, it's 640 horsepower or something. You're like, that's it?
Yeah, right. So worst experience, let's see. There's a crazy traffic, like impossible to find a parking spot on Saturday night in Monterey. That was a crazy thing. I'd say that was my worst experience, like overall. So
ever at Car Week?
No, this year.
Well, that's what he's asking.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't really have like an ever.
My worst experience or worst memory was exotics on Canary Row, cars in rev-offs.
But you had to work that.
I did.
So you were like forced to go to that.
But cars were in rev-off competitions.
Yeah, they did that again this year, by the way.
Lamborghini Mercies and
so
it was Aventadors and whatever else it was.
You're saying you don't like that?
Not really.
Yeah.
Like it kind of turns me off a little.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, once, twice, 3 times. Okay, let's.
Speaking of which, Ben Roget's asking, what's one event you'd gladly never go back to at Car Week? Yeah, exotics. I mean,
exotics on Canary Row.
I would never go to that to start with, so that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's definitely not on my list.
I can't think of any that I would never go back to.
No, there's I will say that Legends of the Autobahn.
I was gonna say that too, but I can't say I would
not. Okay, it's not the worst thing,
and it's free.
There's nothing that offensive
and
about it.
It's free. Let's put that out there. Like,
yeah. It's nothing. It just feels so tired.
It absolutely does. So it's put on by the car clubs, right? So Audi Car Club of America.
It's put on by a bunch of like 90-year-olds
and Mercedes. I think, it feels that way for sure. And
did anyone go this year?
I did.
You did?
I went.
You felt the same way?
Yeah, and
I did one lap, and it was probably 10% of the cars were really cool, and then the rest.
Yeah, there's some good cars for sure.
Yeah, but free Pacific Grove golf course.
Yeah, good venue. I mean,
nice.
The music was horrible, and then there's just people, these old guys yapping the whole time, dude.
That was that was not good.
Oh, you mean like over the speakers?
Yeah, and just going booth to booth, like, and now we're going to something insurance company. Like, what makes you guys the best? It's like,
are you serious?
Are you serious?
The whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now here we are with that Krapovic. These are really sweet titanium exhaust you got there.
Yeah, it was not good. Not good.
Oh man, that's classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
I'm also surprised how many sponsors they get. The people they got to have booths. Like, why are these manufacturers there?
Well, yeah,
or not manufacturers, but companies.
Yeah, I think it's basically like if they specialize in German parts, that's their show, right? Like, there's not another specific.
Yeah,
and it's probably inexpensive too.
It's also volume of people, right?
Sure.
If they can say, "Hey, it's a free show. We estimate X amount of people show up."
Yeah,
to this thing.
I'm sure it's less than $500 a booth.
Right.
Whatever.
Oh, that
yeah. So, but I thought of that too, and I'm like, nah, I would not go back to that. It's just I might not like make it.
And I'm saying, I'm kind of saying the same thing.
Right.
But out of all the things I went to this year, that was definitely like the most stale, kind of like. Not even like that's something you're like, oh, there's in Sunday in San Jose, there's this, and like maybe you'd go.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like Car Week.
Yeah, right. No, it wasn't very special. But
I will say I don't have any want to ever go back to Concorso Italiano.
Oh, true.
And the last time I went was probably 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
It's a bummer though, because our buddy Steven is now the MC the event, and I think it's breathed a little life into it because it's sort of the same.
They're like yapping the whole time, dude.
Well, they're trying to like introduce all the cars, and there's so many like awards and stuff they give out, but yeah, it's like it's a full like presentation the entire time.
Yeah,
I know, but
yeah.
Shout out to Steven. I think he did a really good job. I heard. I had dinner with him that night, and he said it was a good time. So maybe it'll be like a new.
Maybe there's a new wave, a next wave of folks.
I think,
but I think the next wave is a bunch of Aventadors and Huracans and stuff. Because like when last time I was there, it was just like most of it was new cars.
Right. Yeah, I haven't been for a long time. Last time I was there,
it was like 458s at the time, and
yeah.
Gallardos.
I know what's another. So there's the Tiny Car Show, which I went to once at the end. I saw them like leaving once. That's in Pacific Grove. And then obviously Exotics on Broadway, I think is what they call it now. Nope. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else that I wouldn't like want to check out. Especially some of the free stuff. It's like, well,
I will say I'm not super sad about Concourse on the Avenue being gone.
No?
I think it ran its course.
Yeah.
I mean, last year with like the 5-song thing over and over,
right.
just kind of ruined me and it was the same cars for the most part.
It was a lot of same
and then
cars.
now like we went down to Carmel by the Sea, Carmel by the C, and there was like a little kind of car show going on one of the blocks, and it was closed.
I think it was a female-owned car show.
Was it?
Like all the cars were owned by females.
And then there was cars on the street, and it kind of had the same appeal to me as like but less people, and it was I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. There weren't it wasn't as like stressful, I guess, feeling, right?
Yeah, still hard to park, but
Atypical Driver is asking, what was the best outfit you saw at Car Week?
Ooh. Oh, I saw the Scarecrow and another Scarecrow walking along in quail.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny.
So they're like dressed like scarecrows, kind of.
Yeah.
Huh.
They were like out of a comic book, like out of what is a book they would be?
Batman. The Scarecrow.
Wait, like the one from that? Like, whoa.
Kind of.
Wow, that's intense because that's supposed to be a scary character.
The guy like
scary.
One guy is like really into Porsches. Cheers RS.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Scarecrowy.
Yeah, that's pretty scarecrowy.
I saw a guy wearing a full kilt getup, but like really going for it.
Wait, was that bad?
No, best.
What was that
best
question?
outfit?
Oh, best.
And
best.
then two dudes were dressed in lederhosen, like the leather shorts and all that.
I saw that gnome guy again. You know, the guy with
the guy with the wooden shoes?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Wooden Shoes.
Yeah, that guy's great.
That is good. Yeah, there's a lot of characters, man. And when you let like the international flair come in, you're getting a lot of
there's a lot of stuff, man. Yeah, I actually, I really enjoyed Julie Gu from Hagerty. She does social media there. I enjoyed her outfit at Motorlux. I thought it was awesome. It was like she was like basically a fucking human disco ball. She had like a million sequins, and they were like iridescent, and she had like good shoes, and like it was fun. It was definitely like a party
she's going for it.
What's it called? A party outfit that was like fitting, but not like absurd, right? Because you see a lot of crazy shit there that is just like out there. I definitely appreciate that one.
She was like a new outfit every 2 hours or something. Yeah,
she does do a good job of that too. Like she definitely dresses the part at all of these events.
Yeah. It's high profile stuff. I can't think of any other bests though. Like it's all there's just so much.
Mm-hmm.
And best for me is like when I see something so outrageous, like
that is true.
I saw
alligator boots and
there was this one dude, and he was wearing like, oh man, I can't even. He was wearing a tie-dye T-shirt. It was like really big, and then he had weird shorts on. That was and you remember that? I think I was with you.
Well, we were talking about the thing at the Quail, which we kept seeing was the couture dirt bag.
Oh yeah,
which is you have the ripped jeans. Okay, that's whatever. But then also the tie-dye shirt that's kind of faded, and like the trucker hat,
and then the Donald Duck
shoes, right? But then you start looking at it, and it's like all Gucci and Prada, and his outfit's probably like $1,000, but it looks like straight up thrift,
a lot more
thrift store
than
or whatever.
It looks worse than thrift store. It just looks like trash.
It looks like trash. Yeah. I mean, Donald Duck shoes.
I really like just as you're saying though, that there is something, there's an entertainment component to all this, right? And so like where you have the really outrageous shit that is like bizarre, but like you can't hate on it because it's so great that they're actually out there. It's enjoyable to see, right? Remember like the see-through pants guy last time? Like,
oh god!
There was that one chick that was from the future at Motorlux.
Oh, we got Fifth Element. That might be my best, dude. There was like a chick totally rocking
shaved side of her head, and
like the tough fit and like a bright orange jacket,
red hair,
like jumpsuit almost, like with the pants and the jacket. Yeah.
Was it red hair?
She was going Back to the Future.
I forget if it was red or white. I think.
Definitely futuristic.
I want to say it was like white hair.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. Kurt K. Photo says, if DWA got a special curated section at Pebble Beach, like they started doing for the vintage hot rods, what 3 to 5 cars of any era would you select to best showcase the DWA approach to motoring?
Wow,
that's a good question.
3 to 5 cars. Well, see, it's got to be special. I mean, my mind goes straight to like Radwood tuner kind of stuff, right? Like the best of the Alpinas, the best of the AMG pre-merger stuff. I don't know. What do you think? Is that like?
I kind of agree.
One of those fits for sure. Like a SEC AMG for sure. Right. Like that's definitely one.
Like the perfect one, and maybe like
manual. I would do a manual.
And then I feel like maybe like 924 Carrera GTS or GTR.
Yeah,
like a GTR race car or something. That'd be really cool.
Definitely.
And then, I mean,
like the best version of the cars that we.
Yeah.
It'd be like exactly. Yeah, we're not going to put a McLaren F1 in there because it's so unattainable, but we would put the the highest end Porsche, like a roof, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you guys feel about me sliding in an ITR in there, huh? A 97?
If it's like the...
what about an NSX Type R?
NSX Type R definitely fits.
How about the ITR, the race car like we had it?
Oh,
Radwood.
sick. The real-time.
The real-time car, yeah.
That's definitely fitting.
That would be sick.
Yeah, or maybe it would be like iconic liveries of the era.
That'd be cool.
F1 car.
Mm-hmm.
Like the best...
Yeah.
Or like the Canon 962.
How about that Jordan F192 or whatever it's called? Like that one, like right? The 7-Up car?
Yep.
That would be epic. Or just, I mean, there's obviously the Marlboros.
How about Pilot
the Mansell?
Pilot Pen F40.
Pilot Pen F40.
F40 LM.
My favorite car ever.
Take that.
What about a Cannon Williams FW11?
Yes.
Yeah. That would be sick.
Okay, I think we're onto something here.
All right, is that 5 cars?
Yeah, it's at least 5 cars. Yeah, basically.
What about,
I'm wondering if we're going too classy though. Like part of me wants to say, but then
how are you going to walk by and look at an NA Miata and be like, wow.
I didn't know that was his favorite. Warren.
Really did it.
NA Miata?
Definitely wouldn't be Miata.
What about a Dakar yellow E36 M3, huh?
No.
With Euro cats.
No cat delete. I don't know. I did see at Pebble Beach they had the hot rod section again, and it is so uninteresting.
Oh, really? I heard it was like a big section this year too.
Oh, really?
It was like the same as years past. No, it was like maybe 10, and they had the behind them was a big poster of the magazine cover in which they were featured, which is a big deal, right? Like iconic magazines and stuff. But the cars are like, there's no, I hate to say it, like they were so unphotogenic and not special. They can be duplicated at any Cars and Coffee, yet these are the ones that are the inspiration for all the duplication, right? Like these are the actual ones that everyone's like,
these are the icons.
It's got the speed equipment on it, and it seemed
were these all like West Coast cars, or
that would be my guess. It was a lot of like just 32
speed shop kind of stuff.
Yep.
Do you feel like was it the way they were displayed that also affected that? Like,
no, I mean, yeah, that wasn't super interesting, but it was cool to see the covers, the magazine covers. Without that, I would have no like frame of reference. It would just be like, there's a teal green 32 Ford with some carburetor sticking out like some intake, right? Like there's no like, oh man, this thing has a rad stance or something. But the fact that they were built in period and like have stayed the same, and everyone knows the car, like they have like a first name basis.
Yeah, and those horror guys will geek out on those cars.
Yeah. They do, and I mean we're
little
totally
details, right?
We're totally
missing.
It's a demographic thing, right? Like or a generational thing.
Yeah, I think like we have friends obviously that would be really into it, and they would know the car.
Connor's dad would be super hyped.
He would know the whole provenance
of it. He would know what
of it,
spindle they used,
and when it came out, why it's special, and all that. And I have like very little frame of reference, and the fact that they're the most like replicated cars in the world, 32 Ford, and you could make it look like that so easily that.
But that timeout doll though was only
that's
made
true. Special edition.
Yeah, special edition with that color hair. They only made 50.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And I gave him a good look. I went up to him and I was like kind of trying to check out like why they were special, and it's just super simple interior with like no detail, and just all right, old hot rod.
Yeah, I mean these are cars built in garages, right? For the most part.
Yeah, exactly. So little, I don't know, just that was part of the comment I had texted you guys about Pebble being kind of like underwhelming for a number of reasons, which we can get into later. But that was one of them. It was just like, all right, well, there's the hot rod section,
Yeah.
So, and there was also very few people over there like looking at those cars.
Interesting. Was it on the outskirts or
on the very farthest side? Yeah,
maybe that was the wrong play as well.
I mean, it's probably just the only area that they're going to be given based on.
Because really, did they deserve the other real estate?
Yeah, based on the.
So is it kind of going back? I mean, it feels like for a couple of years there, they were getting like newer cars.
Yeah.
Has it kind of like gone back a little bit?
It felt this year there was like multiple pre-war classes that were really like almost focused on like the golden age of motoring, like brass era stuff, big, wooden wheeled things. And until they get to like that early, like late 20s, early 30s with like some coach built, kind of
some actual deco, like beautiful bodies and
styling.
Stuff. Yeah.
It's hard to get into it. And there was a whole section of Graber bodied cars, which I wasn't even aware of. Like I've heard of plenty of other coach builders, but Graber built a bunch of like bodies for Duesenbergs and Cadillacs and all this stuff. And
so
there were a few that were really pretty, and one of them was my pick for best in show, but then a lot of them were just kind of like not super special. And so when you do that, you're taking like one style of car and like featuring it in a whole class. It's like, well, then if that isn't a great style, you're like, it's kind of lost. And then they did the Le Mans class, but almost all of those cars were at Laguna Seca already. So we had seen them all like multiple times. And then they did the concept lawn, which is usually pretty interesting. Just nothing was that like amazing. And 90% of it was at the Quail.
That Lincoln was such a joke.
I know.
Hey man, it's inspired by a jellyfish. Okay,
Yeah,
it's like, it's like a Portuguese man of
wheel
war.
cover things.
I think the weirdest thing about those concept cars this year was that a majority of like the new like futuristic concepts didn't have steering wheels, which I know we're trying to pretend that we're going to be there soon and everyone's just going to be holding on for dear life and letting the computer do it all, but still feels like really far away. The Audi did it best. Like they had a design. Oh, and interestingly,
the Audis actually looked like those cars could be built almost.
Right.
Where like that Lincoln looked like a kid's school project.
Exactly. Yeah. And I talked to the designer at Audi, just happened to be there, which that's kind of cool thing about these events at Quail. And he's standing there next to the car and answer questions, German guy. And I said, "Oh, do these seats swivel, the front seats?" And he said, "No, we've decided that no passengers in a car should be facing backwards." Which Zoox are, we have friends that came from Zoox and they're building this autonomous car with no steering wheel and you face your fellow passengers. And it was just interesting to hear like one of the largest car makers in the world who's trying to figure this whole thing out as well and just saying like, we are not interested in that angle. So
well, it's also intended purpose, right? Like, I mean, because the Zoox model is more like urban environment.
Yeah, urban taxi cab.
Sure, but you're still driving around in a car. Like, why wouldn't the Zoox just have two forward-facing seats?
Yeah.
But
it's the limitations, and they want you to, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean, they have their reasons, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, I like the idea of the Zoox facing each other, and the packaging is much more efficient, right? But if you're motion sick for the whole journey, like it doesn't work, So I'm just curious to see what will really come of that. The other weird thing is that, so no steering wheel, but it had a brake and gas pedal, and they said it had like a chauffeur mode. So maybe you could pretend to like, I don't know, it's very weird. And the coolest part of this car, this is this like big blob looking Audi thing. It had a wooden like curved dashboard, really flat, and no buttons or gauges. Everything was projected onto the wood. And so it could have all the information you'd like, but there was a little hidden projector in the windowsill, like above the wood, that broadcast this like bright white light on this like gray wood paneling.
Did you see it?
I saw it working.
It looked all right?
It looked really cool.
Really?
It was like impressively cool. That's awesome, and the fact that you could change it all, any moment. There's no like screen or, it's just like a projector. So I don't know. Future stuff, man. Future
stuff.
Yeah.
This is cool though.
The Audis did look good though. I agree.
Yeah, they were cool. Let's see here. I don't know any more questions we can get to.
The refrigerator looks so far, but you're scanning, so I think I'm gonna grab another beer.
Go for it.
What do you want?
Do
you
it.
want any?
Whatever you're having.
I'm good.
Ooh.
This is unrelated to Car Week, but Zarftology, which I don't think we've ever had a question from Zarftology. Is this kind of like viewology? He says, my wife gets pretty bad motion sickness in cars as a passenger. Huh? How about rear-facing passengers? Any suggestions for something interesting that might be better for her to be a passenger in? So I think basically...
Better as in like...
Better type of
car? But I don't know what he's in.
Yeah. If you're talking about other things to be a passenger in, how about a train?
A train. Those are hard to come by.
You don't get motion sickness in trains.
I like trains.
I don't know. We need more information, Zarftology. Don't give up on us.
I don't think we have any like hacks.
Yeah. I'll give you a hack. This is something I was told a long time ago, and this is something also that most people probably already know, but in case you don't, have her look as far down the road at the horizon as possible, and in the nose, breathing out the mouth. That's all I can say. But, if you're on a curvy road and you can kind of see down the mountain for a while, look as far down the road as you can.
Yeah, so you're not seeing all the transitions.
Don't look at the road. Don't look at the, on the side of the road. Look as far down to the horizon as you can, and breathing exercises.
What about Dramamine?
That's a lot of drama.
I don't get car sick usually, but the one time I've got car sick in the last 5 years, 10 years, was in some town on a Radwood trip in that Ford. Is it It was like a 3-row thing. You were driving from the airport. It has the ribs.
Ford Flex.
Yeah, Ford Flex. Thing did not, and it happened both days. Being in the very back seat. Something about like a boat suspension or something.
Right, because you didn't have a good view out either.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Dude, I got really remember that one time where like in pre-running, I was in the back of a Camry, and like within like 45 seconds, I was like, okay, I do not feel well, and like I immediately dropped the window and threw up. But that's very rare for me too. So, but yeah, rear seat. I was in the rear seat also. There's something there.
Marco No says, will Warren become the new Brian and dirtbag the M3 to pass smog? I don't know what that means. I'm not taking that question seriously. Oh, and I may have spoken too much about selling the M3 because a bunch of people hit me up.
Oh, great. Asking. Nice, dude. Sell it. You're sad. You're upset. You should get something that makes you happy. I want to see you happy, Warren.
I think if Art had like a dog that was not behaving and stuff, you just like get rid of it.
Dude,
right?
I would sell him so fast. Yeah.
First, I would
test the waters.
Yeah, why don't you have a dog? Yeah, testing the waters. Pitbull. It's usually really nice.
Yeah.
Bobby Reed with the car says, what's an interesting fact about you that DWA listeners probably don't know?
That's more of a question. Like, that's something we should answer about each other or something. But
okay.
I guess you have to assume
that being said, I don't have an answer about it.
Let's see.
I can share something. Well, no, we've talked about it before a little bit about Lane. I think we've talked about it publicly. But like, I'm trying to think of something that people wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Because like Lane really likes chick flicks genuinely.
Oh, but I talk about that on the podcast.
He gets choked up, and he's told me about it. He's admitted to me about it. You know, so there's a very soft thing for Lane. Lane's kind of a hard ass, right? So it's like
yes.
So
I
maybe
also have 2 daughters.
Is that too?
Yeah.
2 daughters. That softens you up for sure.
Yeah, you guys are the only male in your household. There's that, right?
Yeah. Oh, I have a cat. He's a male.
Oh,
it's kind of a badass.
Gangster.
Ghost?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's yours? Drummer or what's his name? Barrel.
Yeah, Barrel and Bandit.
Barrel. I like a drummer.
I like drummer.
Drummer
would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 cats. I don't know if people know that about me.
What you guys got on me? I'm trying to think of something that people wouldn't know.
Let's see. What do you like to do outside of cars for like recreation?
What is that?
Do you fish? Do you golf? Do you build sandcastles? What are you into?
I'm an okay sandcastle builder. I actually really like to do get close to the wet or sand. And make tunnels. That's kind of a fun thing to do with your kids. Have you done that?
See, we didn't know that.
Dig across.
Warren likes combing beaches.
I love beach combing. That's my favorite thing. Whatever I can find.
What?
Message in a bottle.
Do you go for like whole sand dollars, or are you down with some broken ones?
No, broken ones I just throw away.
Okay.
Yeah, shells too. Basically, you need a full shell. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know. What kind of podcast do you listen to outside of cars? Don't you like history podcasts?
I do like history podcasts, and I also like business wars, like there's stuff like that where you have
how to get made or that kind of stuff.
No, like competition between 2 brands.
Oh,
and
right.
And so like where you hear how they battle each other, and like it's just an interesting kind of concept. I think it's called Business Wars. It's
and Lane's into punk rock. Oh, by the way, Lane, Agent Orange is playing at the Catalyst.
Agent Orange is sick. I've seen him at the Catalyst many times.
Whoa. Okay, that's something you probably didn't know.
Damn, he knew already. He's got VIP seats, dude. Or seats at the Catalyst.
I did not know they were playing, but they put on a good show.
Dude, Steel Pulse is playing.
Steel Pulse is sick.
I'm kind of thinking about going.
Are they as good as Sambada?
Way better than Sambada, dude. Come on.
That's on. Isn't it on their marquee like perpetually? Like it's like
burned in.
It's always there, dude. I swear.
Extra large and Sambada.
Yeah, and then Slightly Stupid was there for many years.
They're good.
Yeah.
They're good.
One podcast I'm really into is this guy Toby Morse. He's a punk singer. He's the singer for the band H2O.
Never heard of him.
I was never that into H2O. I knew some of their songs and stuff, but they're like a straight edge, or he's straight edge, but They're like a East Coast like hardcore band, right? But his podcast, he's like kind of the worst, like not a good. He's a really bad interviewer in reality.
Yeah,
but he's so genuine.
Is he worse than Dana Carvey when it comes to interviewing?
I've never heard Dana Carvey.
Their new podcast,
interviews.
Dana Carvey and David Spade.
Really?
They interview guests from SNL throughout the years, guests or people that work there, and he just doesn't let him talk. It's one of those where he's like, tell me about that thing you did that one time, because I think that'd be really hard to do. And you know that time that I did that thing. And then like by the time he's done with all of that, like, or, just.
Dana's, I like Dana though. I've seen him at Mountain Winery before.
Oh, nice. Stuff. He's like legend.
Yeah, but this guy's like, everything, he'll ask a question, the guy will say, respond. He goes, wow, whoa. But it's not even that big of a deal. It's just like,
it's just a total character.
But he's so genuine, dude. The guy is like all about like positive energy and stuff. And everyone loves the guy. So he'll have like he's good friends with like Josh Brolin comes on and like people all over, Tony Hawk and like all these people,
That sounds, who that reminds me of? The Professor, like that kind of vibe.
Yes.
Like that sort of character, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's just good vibes.
Just good vibes.
Yeah,
dude.
high fives and all that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He's never like met anyone he had a problem with,
Right. Interesting. Croc was asking a question about our car week this year versus last year with the Hagerty, the change in ownership and all that.
Oh yeah, he said with Radwood being bought.
But I don't think that affects you so much. Like I had to work events that affected my schedule, but
it didn't change my year at all.
Like you did kind of the same deal.
Yeah.
Other than staying at the house down there, did you do that last year, or did you go back and forth?
I went back and forth.
Yeah. So this year,
but that didn't have anything to do with
no. We just happened to have a friend that had a rental that you stayed at.
Yep.
Yeah, but like for my deal, I mean, I've never stayed down there. I've never had a reason to like stay other than for like a night here or maybe a night there. But like I had 6 nights down there, and that was after Camping Well Awesome, right? So it's like kind of a lot,
Well, your wife came down.
Yeah, so I went home one night. I mean, I went home like for an afternoon and evening one day, and then Saturday I was kind of off and had Andrew and Sarah came down and we did Concord to Lemons, and then went down downtown Monterey for lunch and like cruised down through RM and saw that whole scene. And then
how was Concord to Lemons? I've never been.
So I'd never been either, and it's funny. It's like it's in the weirdest location. It's at City Hall, like on the grass by the DMV in City Hall. It's not even really a park.
It's like on the side of the road, basically.
It's on the side of the road.
Not behind that hotel still?
No.
Behind the main hotel?
By Embassy Suites.
So it's down.
It's kind of close to there.
It's down that, and then across the street at the town hall police station. But it's not a park. It's just a big lawn that you would drive by without a car show there. You drive by and not think anything of it. And there weren't that many cars, so it worked for space-wise, but there were so many people. And it's a free event. It was like shoulder to shoulder, packed. I should have taken like a video.
Did you see Jay there?
I did not see Jay. I saw he was there later.
By the way,
like a dog or something.
Awesome outfit. Yeah, so he went full like comedian, of course. And it's this frou-frou week, right? Car week. It's fancy. So he had a bag with a bunch of like dead minks hanging out of it.
Yeah, I saw like 6 of them.
That's perfect.
It's so rad.
Perfect.
Oh, by the way, we talked about outfits. I saw so many people with animals in little like remote control car, like pushing cars.
I saw one in that little bus.
There was a bus, and then there was something. There was like 4 of them at, or maybe there was a couple at Quail and a couple in Carmel.
I saw a dogfight at Pebble.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Pretty very elegant.
Very elegant.
They kept it elegant.
Did they do like a slap them first and like?
It was a duel. They had a glove and then
full breds, obviously, right?
Yeah, purebreds for sure. But so Lemons was interesting. The bummer for me is that I think there's a lot of people. So for example, there was a PT Cruiser there, and it was just bone stock PT Cruiser, no, not even tchotchkes, no wheel spats, no porthole bullshit, just a PT Cruiser. And the elderly woman sitting behind it, and I went up to her and I said, "What makes this a lemon?" It's just a car, right? And she goes, well, a lot of people make fun of it, so that's why.
Wow, she knew.
And she was kind of sad, but then she said, she kind of like ribbed me and kind of got in close and said, well, it's really because we just wanted a great parking spot for today.
Oh, nice.
So the fact that that's happening, you know, like they just can take any car. And there were a few examples of like 70s funky cars like that Vandolph van, which was super rad.
Yeah.
And then they had this like Mercury, it looked kind of like a Pinto, but it was like their top of the line wood paneled Mercury version. I think it was a Bobcat with like kind of like mesh wheels and fake wood interior. And it was really nice condition. And then there was a Gremlin that was like pulled out of a barn and was perfect patina. Like every surface was rusty or like kind of paint fading, but it was exact, like as
intact. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't even know how it got to the show. It was so like crusty looking, but it was all there. And then the rest of it is like dirty, rusty cars. And it's
like crappy cars.
But everyone loves it. I don't know. We had friends that worked the event from Hagerty, and they said it was like by far the most enthusiasm, like people just stoked to be there. And I think it's a big joke, you know, so they're in on the joke, right? Yeah. There's that. Yeah. And it's free. And there's a lot of kids, and it's just sort of like silly. It's just a big silly thing. So we did bring Andrew to it. He liked it, but it was just so crowded. We did one quick lap. It was very small. It was a very small show. So
people like to laugh, Warren. See?
I know, live, laugh, love. I always say like eat, pray, love, or where's the beach, or life's a beach,
or the beach, just the beach.
The beach. Yeah. But they could do the same amount of cars. That's whatever, you know, the gambler cars and the old French car, you know, crappy French car. But it needs to be in a way bigger footprint. It's way too small. So that was interesting.
I wonder why that footprint. Yeah, like do you think I don't know if we haven't talked to Alan, but does he have more demand than?
Dude, I think everything it's so hard to come by real estate.
Yeah, even across the street is like a actual park with a playground and a bathroom and stuff, and that seemed like way more real estate. So I don't know, maybe it's
that's unrentable.
Yeah, maybe that's it, or they just had a deal already and went with it, and they didn't realize the demand would be so much.
I mean,
so crazy.
He doesn't charge, right?
No
for cars either. So it's like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he charges cars or not.
So how many cars would you say?
There was probably 75.
Okay,
but they were tightly parked. You know, it was that like rows on the outside and then a row of two on the inside, and there was people just everywhere. It was that upside down Camaro Lemons Racer was there. The car with the horse, it's got like it's all covered with like fur, and then on the top is like a fake like hobby horse. You can climb up on top and sit on top of it.
I haven't seen that.
And so it's like a horse car, and there were people like climbing up on top of it and taking pictures. I don't know. It's a whole scene, man. It's a whole scene. There was a cool like Grateful Dead bus, like all in period, you know, just someone's hippie bus with all like "Thanks Jerry" written on the back and all that stuff. So anyways, that was
dude,
cool.
It sounds like your Mighty Max would have fit right in.
Bob.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was offered a Mighty Max for sale.
Cool.
I don't even want to give out the details. It's such a hot item.
Oh
now,
man.
You know.
Wow. What
Bobby
about
Reed will swoop it up.
Extended cab, or what are we talking here?
Just like my truck had a rear bumper though. That's kind of bragging, but yeah, rear bumper.
Intermittent wipers or
no, just 2-speed. And it's red, low mileage, 86,000 miles, in very good condition. And the people who have it are like don't know what it's worth or what to do with it. It's a friend of a friend.
They don't know what it's worth. What is it worth?
Dude, you don't even know.
Dude, you should get the guys at Broad Arrow to give them
I think it's too nice for them. Yeah. They wouldn't even know where to start. They need like a mark expert like myself.
Yeah, there you go. They got you.
Yep.
You go over there, you got like your white gloves going through the archives.
Archives, exactly. Exactly. I would be tempted if I had space for it. It'd be fun to buy another one.
Dang, look at this guy.
Dude,
you're kind of a shitbox guy over here, right? He was saying you
wasn't. Yeah, dude, for sure.
I'm in it, dude. So, I got already one back here, this yellow one.
So Car Week, what was everyone's like favorite thing they did? What is something what's the thing you look forward to most next year? Or,
yeah.
You know?
I think the most unexpected thing I did was the celebration of motorsport, which I had no idea what it was going to be. And that's a Hagerty deal. You can go to the track on Tuesday night to Laguna Seca, and I think it's $200. But there was a lot of like car celebrities there that didn't pay. But they have 8 cars in the pits, and you just grab a helmet, jump in, and go for 2 laps. Like one,
you drive it?
No, you go as a passenger. But one of the cars was the Radford Racing Lotus.
That's cool.
Driven by Jensen Button.
Oh, that's sick.
And the car hadn't really been driven like for public yet, and so there was perspective, or like people who had orders were getting their first drive in the car, like first taste of it. By the way, that thing is way like more extreme than I was picturing.
Oh, really? Did you get a ride in it?
No, I didn't get a ride in it, but I was standing next to it the whole time, and it's like more raw and more serious than it looks.
It's not a street car as much as you thought it would be.
Yeah, and one of the guys got out of it, and he's got like obviously some crazy cars, and he keeps them all over, and he was like, that's a track car right there. Like, that's not a car that I would probably want to drive on the street much. It's hard to get in. It's low. It's like a serious
it's
car.
Modeled after like a 60s race car. Yeah.
It's really cool looking.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah. Like, there's some cool details. It's a dark burgundy.
Yeah, I saw that one. I don't know if that color was right, but
it didn't do much for me either. But so I got to meet Jensen Button, super nice guy, and he's working with Anstead. Obviously, that's like the heads of this endeavor.
There's one other dude, yeah.
And then there's like the whole team behind them, which is like one guy's like sales, one guy's like the technical, like, mechanic. And they go out, and he rips down the road and comes around on the fast lap, and we see him go by. And the fucking engine cover is hovering.
Oh,
so it's a clamshell that opens backwards, and you can see it lifting off. So Ant runs out to the pit wall and is telling Jensen Button to slow down. There's no flag system on the track. For whatever reason, there's like no communication. I don't know. He finally comes back around and pulls in all stoked, and like they have no idea.
He didn't notice.
No. And so they're like, dude, and they like scramble, close the thing. He rips off again. And then I noticed there's fucking coolant on the ground, like under the car. I'm like, oh shit. And so I tell Ant, I'm like, are you seeing this? He's like, oh yeah. And so he goes over and talks to the guy, and they're like, it's the overflow tank, and it's spitting out some coolant. It's no big deal. I'm like, okay. Sure enough, he pulls back in,
and it's overheated.
It's just smoking. It's like coming out of all the exhaust or the vents on the motor cover is like pretty good amount of smoke. I'm like, oh, okay. So then he drops them off. He drops the passenger off, and then Jensen goes and like cools the car down. Like he just goes on a slow lap and comes back. And I think it was all good. People were super stoked on that. It was the longest line for sure. And I don't even think anyone, like any civilians, got a ride. It was only like VIP, like people who were.
So what were the other cars they were ripping around?
So the next to him was Pat Long in his G-Body 911.
Wait, is that Pilo? Is that
my boy Pilo?
That red SC.
Yeah. And I've only talked to him once or twice in the past, like, hey, how you doing? But we talked for a good like 10, 15 minutes. Super nice guy. Like totally normal, just dude.
Yeah.
And we were talking about Luft and Radwood, and then he said he's getting a new, like a property office kind of near like Westlake Village, so the opposite side of Malibu. And he's like, it'd be great. Like, I want to make this space kind of like Beeline, actually, an office with like cars. He's like, and then you guys could come down and jump in some cars and go driving. And I'm like, let's do that.
Nice.
We should do that.
All right, I'm down.
Let's do that.
Brad.
But he has this car, and it's like not street legal, but it's not super race. And of course he's downplaying. He's like,
he did hill climbing it. On
he's
Sunday.
like, this is just a regular car, like no big deal. But it's got a cage, and it's like super cool.
Peter B got some footage of him going up the corkscrew, getting all sideways.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, for the hill climb?
Yeah.
And dude, Pat Long is ripping that thing. I mean, every time someone jumps in it, he goes full blast, red line,
awesome.
First gear shifts, boom, up the straightaway. And then it was like new 911 turbo, a Hellcat, a couple of Voras, that kind of Radford racing cars.
Who else is driving?
Larry Webster was one of the drivers. Some of the Radford instructors, someone else that some other celebrity kind of I didn't know. But that was the most like, it was you had a lot of access. And then for like car people like us, there's always like car celebrities, right? So like Chip Foose and his wife is there hanging out. And then Tanner Faust is there. And then this lady who I kind of recognize, but I'm like, I don't know.
Lynn St. James.
She was there, yeah. But there was a younger lady, and she was at the Hagerty Drivers Club tent, and we were hanging out for a bit, and I was just shooting the shit because I thought she was like a rep for Radford. She had a baseball hat on and glasses, and she was just kind of dressed normally, and we were talking for a while. Super nice and everything. And then right as she walked away, I'm like, oh, that's Renee Zellweger.
Oh, yeah,
because she's dating Ant.
Yeah.
And I like clicked finally. I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah,
that's funny.
I'm an idiot.
Have you seen her newest show? Dude, the show's really good.
Is it? Yeah.
It's like a mini series.
She like plays like a gnarly
Dude,
old,
she's
like
so gnarly. Yeah, so creepy.
She was super normal, like just seemed in it, like kind of into the racing, and
that's cool.
And they were very like lovey-dovey the whole time, which is kind of funny to see. I don't know. It was like I'm standing there and they're like, making out. So I'm like, all right, do your thing, dude. And then who else is there? Like, I don't know, just other people I kind of recognize from the car world, which is funny for us because, like, if we brought our wives, they'd have no idea. Like,
of course,
it'd be like just regular random people here,
for sure.
But for us, it was
just because we watch like videos and listen to stuff. And
we're like, oh, I recognize that guy.
Yeah, and we go to events and all this stuff.
Yep. And Larry Webster is the head of the Hagerty Media, like
formerly like Road and Track, I think, and a couple others.
Yep, and car and driver, right? Yeah, I forget. But he's now does the Hagerty magazine, which is a big deal for them. And again, super nice guy. Chip Foose, super nice. Everyone's cool and having a great time. And it's like there's food and drinks over here in a bar, and it's on the pit lane.
Yeah. It's funny because I saw you at we hung out at Quail for a little bit. We walked around, and you're all like chummy with Chris Jacobs now. And that's like you watch Overhauling.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's Chris. He's just some guy, from this one show with Chip Foose. But like, Warren and him are like, oh, what are you up to today? Oh yeah, I'm doing this. Oh, cool. Like, I'll see you later then.
We were in the pits like in the trenches together at Greenwich because Art couldn't make it to that show, and we had to do the like presentation, walking through the whole field and talking about it for like a good 30, 45 minutes. And there's a lot of like in between stuff. And then we did the awards together. So we had like a day of hangout, and that wasn't that long ago. So
Chris is cool.
Super nice guy.
He's a big Radwood fan too. So like he's
he came to that Radwood LA where it rained with his 911 SC.
And he was at the LA one. We hung out for a while too. He's like, he loves all the quirky like Shelby stuff that shows up. So that's why like in advance, like,
and he's a Mopar guy.
He's a Mopar guy. So I met up with him at Quail, and like, he's like, dude, so what's showing up, man? What's showing up? And like, and I'm like, dude, like, you're going to fucking love it. We have the Shelby Dakota pickup truck, right? Like hauling the GLHS. And like, he basically went just to see that.
That's cool.
He was pretty amped on that.
Yeah. That's right.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. Then a couple other random celebrity sightings. Now that we're on this subject, met Adam Carolla.
Oh, cool.
Oh, first time, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. But so Lane and I were like good buds.
He's good. Yeah. I never met him before. Actually, and then Jay Ward of Pixar was there. Nicest guy, of course. And then Aaron Paul was watching Pebble Beach Awards, Breaking Bad fame and whatnot. He had like the top suite at the lodge outside on this deck, and there was a table, and he was just sitting on the table with his homies, and they were watching the awards presentation like right across from us. So
nice.
It's good. It's good times. Good times. Yeah. And then there's always like, the other car nerd stuff, like you see all the like James from Throttle House and Jason Camisa, Zuckerman, those types.
Yeah, I hung out with Camisa for a bit at Quail. We complained about everything the whole time.
We walked together. We walked the field together. It was actually fun. We had like a really good hang with.
Nick said he walked with him at Quail.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he went over and started speaking German to some people, and Nick just bounced.
Yeah.
He's off.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
So I met Jeff Zwart for the first time.
Oh, I saw you talking to him at Motorlux.
Yeah, so like it's one of those people we've like been in the same room so many times as a group, collectively, and like I've never interacted with him, and so I walk up to him, and he's by the 934s, and I'm like, hey, like, Art Cervantes of Radwood, how's it going? Like whatever. And we just started talking. He's like, Radwood, sweet. I'm like, yeah, it's like an 80s. He's like, you don't have to explain Radwood to me. He's like, I've been watching you guys since you started. Like, it's so cool, and he's actually like a big fan. He's like, I literally try to make it to every fucking show you guys do in LA, but like, I just have other shit going on basically. Yeah. And like, he's like super into it.
We got to bring it to Colorado.
Yeah, there you go. Which is something we talked about earlier. Yeah. But yeah, so the thing is that he was like, all about like we ended up talking about motorsport, and we went into like the Pikes Peak stuff, and like so it was cool to connect on that, and like talking about his past race cars, and like we went just in like I wanted to know more about him and his experience as everything that he's done. I mean, like as a joke, like I think I've said this before, and I think Ali said it too. Like I want to be Jeff Zort when I grow up. Like he does all the coolest shit. Like it's like all the stuff I want to do.
We had a funny Jeff Zort encounter downtown after Motorlux. We were picking up Cam and Nima. They were downtown there. We were picking them up, and we just stopped, and Jeff Zort like is walking across the street, and Ali's like, "Hey, look," and we're like, "Look," and I'm like, "Hey," and he like basically walks right by our car, and we're like, "Hey, that's
so he could hear you saying,
it was so weird. It was like, yeah, he could totally hear everything.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like smiled and walked by. It was so awkward.
That's funny. He's rad, dude. He's a good dude.
Yeah,
he's nice.
He's like one of those guys, like I know a few other people like this where he's like kind of permanent smile.
Yeah.
Like you walk up to him and he like already kind of seems like he's.
Yeah, I've talked to him a few times, but not like, at length or anything.
Yeah.
Just like Ben. I don't know where I've been in those situations. Yeah. Probably talking to other people, and he comes up.
Yeah. So one thing that I will say and this is collectively, this is just it's a Radwood thing. Obviously, he knew what Radwood was, but he appreciated like the curation of the show. He's like, I've noticed in the pictures, like I can tell you guys put like an effort. He's like, if you might know, I'm kind of into that myself.
Could be making this up, by the way.
No, and he's like, I'm kind of into that myself, like talking about Lyft and everything else. And so that was really
he's
cool.
He's the guy that does that for Lyft, right?
It was so nice talking to Patrick Long about, because they just released ticketing. You can buy tickets for Lyft, and he was talking about like what a pain in the ass that is. And I'm like, dude, it's good to hear.
Yeah, it's same.
Because you ask him if I got in or.
Yeah, no, I was like, there's this one black
You're
car.
all black car. Well, he bought it with his daughter.
It's black on black.
But he bought it with his daughter. Good story. It's his first air-cooled 911.
Okay.
I didn't know you could do that.
Things have changed. Like back when we went to Lyft 3, I was texting with her. Remember, we're like, hey, man, can you squeeze us in? And that was
actually, the last Lyft, I texted him. I hit him up.
At Hollywood or whatever.
For Hollywood, because I was like, hey, dude, it was like tickets were sold out. And it was 2 days before, and I never got the press confirmation.
Oh, right.
I'm like, hey, dude, I like didn't buy a ticket because I signed up for. And he's like, oh, I got you. No problem.
Sick. He was still on it at that point.
Yeah. I felt really bad because it was like definitely crunch time, and I know how that is.
Yeah,
I know. I was like scrambling to get there, basically.
I think because they're now owned by Porsche, that you think everything's perfect, but as we've learned, it doesn't matter how big of an organization, nothing's perfect.
You also learn I
think like Adam Sandler was talking, this is like a story I heard, but he was telling Spade or someone like, dude, like everyone making these, no one knows what they're doing.
No one knows what they're doing anywhere. No one knows anywhere.
So then you have to you just have to do it and make things happen because no one really knows. You think they all know, and they're like, they're pros. They're pros making movies every day. And it's like, no, dude, they really don't know. Yep. So it's nice to hear it though.
Yeah, it's a collective. Yeah, it's all happening. It's amazing that it all works though, right? Like I trip out on society in general. Like even like. Like people actually pay attention and listen and say, okay, that is a red light. I'm just going to sit here. Like I'm just going to do this.
Not in India, but yes, in here.
Yeah, not in India. Shit. Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah. Have we talked about that?
Well, I've seen a lot of videos. I've never been to India, but you have. You said it was like the most uncomfortable place you've traveled, right?
I've never experienced, you think you have experienced culture shock, but like, it's like, oh, it's just like that weird inconvenience or that miscommunication.
Yeah.
It's a whole different fucking thing. It's like where you are anxious and you're uncomfortable and you're like, this is fucking insane and I don't want to be here.
I got a little of that in Africa, but it wasn't that many people.
It was after about a week in Mumbai and I'm like, dude, this is fucking madness. Like it's just chaos all the time and like, but it all works, right? It's organized chaos, right? And like, I was just very lost myself, and like, I started to kind of get to grips with stuff. Like, did I mention like me ordering food at the convention hall at this trade show I was at?
Yeah.
And it's like, I thought it was in a line, but it turns out that everybody just goes to the front aggressively. And whoever gets to the front and waves their money in front of the cashier the most,
I wouldn't do well there.
They're the ones who get their food.
That would be so stressful to me.
That's
it's
like
really stressful.
That's like a nightmare.
A rally taco night where there's no line and people are just coming up to our Tiger Woods making tacos.
Oh yeah.
Now imagine that, but driving also, like trying to get like everyone's going for that one hole in that one gap.
I've seen it where it's like an intersection and it's just the most just
if there's a gap and you don't take it, you're no longer eating.
Yeah, so these guys emerging. are all Indians are racing drivers because they always go for the gap when it exists. But one thing I was going to mention, last thing. So I was being driven because we had a driver when I was there for work, and like we were, it's a right-hand drive country, right? So you drive on the left side of the road, right? And so driving on the left side of the road, all of a sudden we're like, this is like in the middle of Mumbai. There's a huge tree in our lane. Like it's actually like grown through like the concrete or through the asphalt rather. And we just swapped sides. So now we just are now driving on the right side.
For how long?
For like a mile or two. And then just people swap back at some point.
Yeah, I've heard about this. Yeah.
It's just like, it's crazy, dude. No. It's madness. Yeah. I can't believe people have nice cars to drive around there, dude, too. It's like,
it's crazy.
Yeah. It's lines insane. Or suggestions. I do like horning though. People, they have horn please. That's what they call it.
You're very horny.
They're very horny, yeah. So horn, please. People communicate with their horn.
Horns. Yeah. Let's talk about insane cars you saw on the street. We took pictures of cars at Quail that were just parked in the
parking lot's insane.
It was insane.
Next level.
I mean, maybe 20 cars over $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh, in the parking lot?
There was two Singers, two F40s,
3 F40s. There was one in another parking lot down the parking lot I was in. No, a red one.
Oh, three red ones.
3 red ones.
There was a black one at Bonham's Street parked. 2 Carrera GTs.
Yep. 2 Singers.
Dude, what about that Ferrari?
A Koenigsegg?
That Mondial Ferrari from the 50s that you saw? Like it just parked. That was insane. That's like, who knows how much that is.
Yeah, that was a 340.
There was, and then there was a bunch of like $500,000+ cars.
Oh yeah.
LFA.
Yeah.
I mean, just like so, like brand new Aventador SVs, like stuff like that.
Kind of gross in a way.
And then like, Cullinans, right? Like
the Cullinans were just normal. Like all that flab, like Ferrari, Lambo, Aston.
Yeah.
Bentley.
Dude, there was a sweet old Ferrari like 250 something in the parking lot.
Yeah,
that's cool. I enjoyed waking up to a Ford GT next to me.
I saw that.
That was rad.
No, that was cool.
Like there's stuff like occasionally you get some cool stuff.
You woke up next to it?
Yeah. It was parked I just woke up and like, whoa, there it is in my room. It was parked next to me.
It's a big room.
It was a pretty big room. Yeah.
Nice.
Sweet. Embassy Suites.
Yeah, F40 or there was a Ford GT LM002 at our hotel.
That one was still there.
There was a 288 GTO kit car. I thought it was something different, but what else did I see? Oh, on my way from when we left Pebble Beach, when we were looking at the I forget what they call that now, but it's where the Mercedes
manufacturer row or something.
Right, Mercedes tent. And there was a Japanese car show which we went to, and we looked at some other stuff. We left there, and I can't remember where we were going, but in my rearview mirror was a Myers-Manx and the silver 250 GTO, which was a show car at Pebble Beach and everything. I mean, it's a $70 million car that was driving down the road.
And a $70 million difference between the Myers-Manx and
you would add all of the cars, all the other cars on the entire road, and it was like not even close. But that's the kind of stuff you see. 275 GTBs, a Lusso. I saw that Marlboro F40 driving at
I heard that people saw that thing driving down Highway 1 towards Big Sur and stuff. So
and then
awesome.
You hear stories too of like one of the trophy winners, or at least the finalists at Pebble Beach, was this Talbot Lago teardrop Fagioni Falaschi, insane Art Deco car that's worth, I don't even know, $20-30 million or whatever. And the guy said that the car has lived in the Mediterranean its entire life. It's here now. I'm going to drive it. And he drove it to Big Sur and back.
That's cool.
Before Pebble Beach.
So rad.
I love that stuff. I mean, it seems silly not to do that, but at the same time, it's like
also the cool thing about Pebble is once you're there, you can't go back.
Right.
So it's kind of like if you get it there and then you're like, all right, now my goal is just to drive this thing and have fun. It's already been at the height of its, it's kind of like now it can retire.
Right. And there's nothing more to live for.
There's nothing more
to,
which is kind of a cool, like it's freeing, I feel.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to look at it. You get those experiences.
It's not like you're going back every year. You have to keep it perfect,
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to do like local concourse. I mean, maybe you'll go to like Amelia or something like that. But
for sure that, yeah.
Or there's also the French ones and the Italian ones. And,
but it kind of feels like who cares? Like Pebble Beach is the Super Bowl, right?
Absolutely. So, I was at a thing later in the week, like at the end of Pebble, and there was a party, and McKeel Hagerty, who's the CEO, or owner of Hagerty, made a little speech, and he made a good point. He said that Lincoln unveiled 2 new cars at Pebble Beach, and they do not have any presence at the Detroit Auto Show. Like that won't be happening there. Mm-hmm. And that's Lincoln, like, 100-year-old American car company.
Yeah,
Pebble Beach is the
failing
spot.
car company. Yeah, cool. Like good. Yeah, they're doing everything wrong, but they did that.
Dude, I think they're like record sales. Like they're for whatever reason. I'm just saying, like they.
I mean, record sales compared in the last 5 years. This is their best year. Maybe.
Hey, Lincoln Navigator is nice.
Dude,
I mean, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get a Lincoln.
Yeah.
Surprised he hasn't.
But anyways, it was just a kind of talking about the importance of Pebble Beach, where.
Dude, just the launches we saw.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, like, Porsche. I mean, yeah, they launched it a couple days before on the internet, but like the GT3 RS, which is an ugly car, but I'm sure it aero works out and it's fast as hell. And they made it a full on. It's like full on race car. It doesn't have a frunk, right? So at this point, it's just a track toy or something for rich people.
Yep.
I thought it was not good looking, and I'm surprised so many people loved it so much. Even down to like the graphic package was like not good. It's the font they use, like
absolutely wingman thing.
So yeah. It's just, but so much cool stuff, right? The Myers-Manx, it was debuted cool. On their own in Malibu a week ago or whatever it was. But this is like the first official bring to the public thing.
Yeah, and we may not love them, but Pagani had a model, Lamborghini had a model, Bentley had a new model, Bugatti,
Koenigsegg, Gunther Works.
Yeah, Lexus and new RX, baby.
Gordon Murray, man.
Yeah, and I saw Gordon Murray there. That was cool.
Yeah, that was enough of an incentive for me to go. I was like, all right, I have to make it to the quote, even if I don't have anything else to do. I want to go see.
And then they were at Laguna Seca ripping around the track at 12,000 RPM.
T50. And then I talked to Tom Francis today, and they were at Canepa. And
right?
Yeah, and they thought they would be there for the week, and I was going to go see them, but they left today at 5. I was like, damn. But Gordon Murray was at Canepa as well.
I saw Dave was there.
Oh, really?
Sports Car Adventures. He had his picture. Took a picture with a little selfie with Gordon.
Yeah, I saw people taking selfies or doing the hidden selfie, like where you're doing it like this and Gordon Murray's back here.
Oh, geez. That's creepy.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's classic.
So I did it too.
Yeah, of course. Get the fuck out of here so I can do it, right?
Exactly,
it's like, I want to get in there.
There was a lot of cool, like 356 speedsters and stuff like that people were just driving around in as their weekend car.
Roof, like 993 roof turbos. Mm-hmm. Really cool stuff. A lot of like kind of more subtle, like the CLK 63 Black Series, where
that's crazy. You saw 3 of those.
I saw 3 in one day.
Yeah,
I mean those are rare.
I love
super rare,
and they're awesome.
I do too.
I wanted one, but they're
so sick. Remember I preached it on this podcast. Go back.
Yeah.
I said that was a car to buy at 68 grand, whatever they were.
70 grand.
I agree. They're so good. They're so good.
Yeah, 2 white ones and a black one.
When we drove that, the turn in was so amazing.
Yeah, it's a really awesome car. Yeah, it's very totally like unknown, right? If you're outside of it's like, that big old fat pig. It's like, that's
they're not even that big now.
But it's like,
compared to like new AMG stuff, they're very like
pretty cool.
Tight.
Sounded good.
That engine is amazing, and like
the tranny's a little whatever, but it's still super.
Yeah,
no, it's a great
for what it is. It's super cool.
Yeah, good daily. Be fun daily.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff.
I'm trying to think of any like other highlights I saw. Just roaming. I mean, it was cool. Just driving out to like Pebble Beach, and I was behind that 356 like outlaw thing with the kind of big wheels on it. But it was just cool being behind that car,
Totally.
Like, and then you're behind like you said, a Myers-Manx. It's crazy how Myers-Manx, like now they're a real. They reformed. There's this new company last year or whatever. They have this like. It's like they're doing it right. I feel like people.
I think they have it totally.
Like it makes me want a Myers-Manx.
That electric one is so good, dude. And I got to walk around it with Jay Ward of Pixar, who's an automotive designer basically, and we were talking about all the details, like even like the script. How it's like the angle of the raised letters is like kind of bowed, and the taillights are perfect. The interior is like so minimal, but it still like harkens back to Volkswagen, and like, dude, everything was
most of it's like
really
it's
awesome.
Full on prototype, like 3D printed and stuff.
Yeah,
most of the stuff, but it's like well done. It just reminds me so much of those little Play Forever cars, which is really cool in the simplicity and smoothness and the way the body lines like go together, the way that tub And then it has the shell for the body. It has like a tub, then body, and the way that line is.
And that whole hardtop is on struts, and you just lift it up, and it goes.
And that car
to get in and stuff.
And that's really designed by Freeman Thomas, who's designed the new Beetle, the Audi TT.
Yeah,
like amazing credentials.
Yeah, he's rad. He's like around the LA scene. Like I've met him at Cars and Coffee Malibu.
You talked to him at Motorlux, right?
Yeah, he's a cool dude. Dude, so the Myers Manx, I was at Motorlux, I was parking like the last 2 cars, right? And I knew it was like, all right, I'm going to be out there. I'm waiting at the gate, 2 cars. I'm waiting to find out what they are. And Logan hits me up. He's like, all right, the last one's a Myers Manx. It's the last one. It looks like he's running late. All right, whatever. So it's a super rad one, Bass Flake, everything.
Is it the green one?
The green
four-door?
one. Yeah, the green one. And so I tell him where to park it. And then I get out. And he's like, all right, well, now we have to tweak this one. And that was Steve McQueen's like custom Myers Manx, the red one that has like the enclosed headlights. Have you seen it? It's a really trippy looking one. And it has a Corvair engine in the back. It's like, and I was looking at him like, dude, that is definitely a flat 6. And what the hell is that? And it was a Corvair engine. I'm sure that thing, anything Steve McQueen is like absurdly valuable.
Millions.
Yes. And it's so cool, but it's a very unique looking one. If you see a picture of it, I think you'd recognize it.
Did you guys see there was like an orangish one with the green like tanks on the side?
Yeah, what was that?
No.
That was the first ever Myers Manx.
Oh wow!
And those tanks were all filled with gas originally, and so you can go to Baja and bring all the extra gas with them.
Oh whoa!
Safety first.
Yeah.
On the fiberglass car that could just get destroyed.
And it had a front tank too.
I saw that. I thought it was like for buoyancy, like to go in the water.
Yeah, that's what I thought at first too. Yeah, so that was the first car that he ever built.
Get out there, huh?
There's so many stories to this week. I mean, we could talk about this forever. Like there's so many little things. I mean, dinners and I don't know, just a million things. I feel like we could.
Good people.
Yeah, overall though, it's a really good experience. It can be tiring because everyone is there and you're doing a lot of shit nonstop. And
I was so physically burnt out when I left Saturday morning, and then I had FOMO instantly seeing like the hill climb footage and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was pretty burnt out. I almost didn't go to Pebble because it was like I just wanted to get home, and I kind of knew it was going to be a lot of the same stuff, and it was like kind of a schlep to get there. But I kind of worked. Oh, that reminds me, like. There are so many things to do for free at this week if you're like listening to this or watching this and you're like, just the worst part of it is lodging. So you're going to be screwed with that no matter what, unless you have some.
You have to stay in Salinas and it'll still be $280 a night.
Oh, easy. Or try to get a camping spot and dirt bag it as much as you can. Something like that. But past that, or if you are local and you can come for a day, there are so many things to do for free. I mean, we just talked about it, like Legends, Lemons, the Ferrari thing at Pebble Beach, the Concours, or the Concepts at Pebble Beach, the manufacturer tents up top. That's all free.
And just being there.
I was just going to say.
Porsche Works reunion. just going to Baja Cantina.
Just going between Baja Cantina, Carmel, and Monterey. You are going to see the most insane cars ever.
Just being there. Yeah, just camp out anywhere. I mean, there's certain spots, but even just downtown after, like on a Friday night, just park at any bar there. And
I had never been to the Pebble Beach, like the manufacturer row or whatever we're calling it. I had never been to that. It's a full scene, dude.
Yeah, they had that little Japanese display. They had your boys at Lincoln.
My boys at Lincoln, they wouldn't let us in. And then even the parking lot itself is awesome.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, there's a 190 SL rally car with a chopped windscreen and no bumpers, and it was like super cool. That was just someone's driver.
Yeah.
For the week. Nice. Yeah, there was so much cool stuff. So it's overload though. You start like kind of not taking photos of things because you've taken so many, and you're like, I'm not going to go over and look at that car. But if it was any other day, you'd be like, oh my God.
For sure.
Dude, and I didn't take a picture or even look at things that later on I realized were important cars or really cool. But I'm just like, it's just
like I didn't know Steve McQueen's Myers Manx was at Motorlux. I didn't know that was the original Myers Manx. Like, and there's just, a lot of stuff that
I have. So I took a picture from the shuttle, from the Quail to the parking lot. And I was thinking that exact thing because out front, like in the little parking lot, which is like for administration and shit, there was like just normal cars. and I can see that there was a Ferrari F50 parked next to a Suburban or something, and you can kind of see the spoiler. And I took a picture of that, and it's like, if this was any other day, like you would be getting out of whatever vehicle you're in, and you would be over there, right? But like now it's just like, all right, that's just another
F50.
I saw so many F50s this week.
It's insane, dude. And they were so much rarer than F40s. And
I probably saw 15.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because there was one house that had 2 parked at Pebble Beach. It's hard to say if they're the same.
They're probably
ones,
the same a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, black one.
You probably saw probably saw 8 cars or something, which is insane.
And Carrera GTs on the road, which is cool to see.
Yeah. Oh, I have a funny story. You guys will be the judge of that.
Yeah.
But I went to get my media pass for Quail, and like the Wednesday, I think it was, and it's like down the street from where the Quail is at this Lutheran church. And they have a little tent set up, and I drive, so I drive around. It's like a little turnaround thing.
Like a drive-through.
Yeah, the drive-through. And I drive by it, and I park. And I go up, and I'm like, and the guy's like, I think the one guy listens to us or something, because he said, oh, Lane. Because I said Skelton, and then he's like, Lane. He just said Lane. I'm like, oh, yeah. But he wasn't like looking at anything.
Memorize all the people.
But the one guy I was dealing, he goes, oh, I like your 930. I'm like, oh, thanks. It's just like, whatever. I'm like, thanks. And he goes, and then he's like getting my information. He goes, oh, what year's your 930? I'm like, it's an 87. And he goes, oh man, that's cool. How long have you had your 930? And I'm like, dude, it's just a Carrera. I was just kind of like, at that point, it was like the third time I was it's actually not a 930. It's a 911 Carrera.
It's kind of like Beetlejuice. He says it 3 times and you have to tell the truth.
Yeah, exactly. But also it's like, do I want to be like mansplaining what the difference is or what? I don't know.
Now you have to go in if he asks.
And then he's like, oh, I just saw, it has the wing, the whale tail. And I'm like, yeah, it's different though. Like turbo one is different, I was like very nonchalant, kind of like, I don't know. I was like,
So was he a listener?
No, I said the other guy was next to him.
Oh, I see.
So that was the guy I was doing.
Oh, great. I hope they work together or something, and he's going to now grill his homie.
I think he was a listener.
Or volunteers. That's funny.
Speaking of listeners, I was going to say...
Oh, sweet parking for media, by the way.
Oh, did they give you A-List?
Last year I had to park like way down the street and get like shuttled. Oh, last year when I did that, remember I parked and the guy's like, oh, DWA.
Oh,
that kid parking me.
Yeah.
Nice. And you have to shuttle. This year they give you C parking, so you're like right there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So good.
I parked in the old trailer parking.
C parking.
Yeah, C parking. I saw the parking. That was a whole fiasco. It's a whole other story.
Dude, parking for me was, I had to park far, but I first parked, there was like a whatever Velar or something to my left. And
your favorite car?
This dude rolls up in a Taycan turbo, whatever the top of the line was. This is like all decked out, which is rad. He parks, and then a LaFerrari parks next to him. and then I didn't see what else, but I get out of my car, and the dude's like, oh, dude, rad Skyline, man. Like, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, rad Taycan. And he's like, I'm pulling out my camera. Oh, rad camera. And I'm like, rad camera. He's got the same camera. So it's just like time going back and forth.
You guys are cute.
But that whole thing, though, that it was... Every single row was like that, it was all
crazy.
Cool shit. Even out there, I was an S lot, dude, in the freaking sponsor lot. Yeah, it's like way the hell out.
Yeah, where I parked, it was like I roll up. Ali got the biggest like dickhead parking spot. Did you see where he was parked? On top of like, no, his 991.
Oh no,
it was like a sand trap, and then he's on top of the sand trap like sideways. Everyone else is like parallel spots. And then right behind me is like a Testarossa, and I saw that was a cool car to follow. I was behind a Testarossa, what is it, Mono Specchio or whatever.
Yeah,
single mirror.
That's just early.
I can't hold it anymore. I'm sorry. This is a podcast first, everyone.
No,
I need a potty break. I can't handle it.
Oh man, dude, we got to get a real pro in here.
Yeah. Replacement. Where's Nick?
Yeah, so I was going to say for everyone listening that came to Radwood at Laguna Seca.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Radwood.
I know. It's like all the other stuff because we were kind of like in that thing.
Radwood was cool though.
It was a good little kicker.
I was stoked too. Like I'm always bummed like I didn't see people. I saw a lot of people. I didn't get to hang out with as much as I wanted to. Like Chris Harrell, Rocketiki.
Yep.
I saw Matt Crook, didn't even get to talk to him, like people like that. But I got to hang out with Tim McNair for a little bit. We had a couple beers at Radwood, and that was rad. Like I hadn't seen him for a while.
Dude, he saved me after Pebble. The shuttle was not coming to this party, and he happened to be walking by. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm I'm waiting for the shuttle. He's like, "Do you want to ride?" I'm like, "Hell yeah!" So
nice.
He gave me a ride to this house in Pebble Beach, and that was like a lifesaver. And then we were chatting. I mean, we were friends anyway, but we were chatting about all sorts of stuff. So that was good.
Got to see Brad Brownell.
Yeah,
SV Expert was hanging out with me at Baja.
The old Drew and Pete.
Yeah.
Got everyone was
Brendan and
Duppity-doo and Duppity-dee.
Yeah, so many people.
That was great. Yeah, it was a good little kicker. We kind of started that process of planning that event late, so we weren't quite as tied in. I think next year we'll be more integrated and have like a bigger display. But
dude, the Radwood display at Motorlux, we didn't talk about that.
That too. Yeah,
that was super cool. It was like right when you walk in to Motorlux, which is a cool event. I will say, like this year, like it felt like Motorlux was packed to the gills, and Quail was packed to the gills. Dude. Like last year, Quail had like way less people.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like I really feel like this year it was on. Like
I think they just let more people in though too. Like because there was so much demand.
Maybe
and
it was very, very busy everywhere I went, and it was in one way it's like feels good because you're like, oh right, it's healthy, like everything's going.
Yeah.
But the other flip side of that is it's kind of cluster.
Yeah, right? It was great though. Motorlux, it was cool though. Walking right in, you see the Radwood display, Radwood banners and everything, and then like all these cool cars. And I was talking to like Rob from Rob and Alvin, which I love those guys from Z Car Garage, and Rob was almost like getting teary eyed, dude. He was like so stoked that there was like a Nissan Skyline at that.
That's funny.
Seeing like these cars at these events like that, it was like it's like a big deal, right?
It's kind of like that question earlier, right? It's us bringing that DWA element to these events that historically have been really exclusive or,
Dude, speaking of which, Art's car got so much attention. I think you were the #1 photographed car by security guards.
Oh, shoot.
What does that mean?
A certain demographic.
Yeah. I don't know. I think many people haven't seen your car. It's obviously iconic. Yeah. It's a GTR. Like they see it as just...
Oh, at Motorlux, yeah.
Motorlux and at Radwood. Those are the two. Our spot at Laguna. So
we had some good cars in our display. So we had the PlayStation liveried 2000 Le Mans winning GTR, Viper.
Yep.
We had the 348 Challenge, which is a nice car that we've had a few times, the Ferrari Challenge, liveried. We had Sammy Hagar's 500E.
Eddie Van Halen.
Ah, shit. I first said
we really don't know. We really don't know.
Eddie Van Halen's, and then we had F35. Oh, and that DeLorean.
Yeah, the DeLorean.
Radisson Show winner of 2018.
Sounds right.
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, that's a cool car. It's a Mongoose. It's got Mongoose history, I should say. The Mongoose BMX company founder.
I think next year we should have a
old
speaker,
Steve Mongoose,
like a little Bluetooth speaker playing some 80s and 90s jams.
For sure.
I know, in our own little,
like just thing, quietly, but like in that corner. If you came over
and
there.
hopefully we're not like directly in front of like operations. That's like not ideal too.
That wasn't ideal.
But the whole, I actually really enjoyed the party. I think our team did a killer job considering it was a massive undertaking and it was a ton of ins and outs.
The craziest thing, like people don't realize that went to that party, is that it had to be a functioning airport at 7 a.m. the next day.
Wow.
And we're talking about stages, lighting, catering, glassware, like
lots
planes,
of
cars. Dude, the build out was
that's wild.
So very crazy. I don't know how they're going to outdo themselves next year, but we'll see. What was I going to say? Oh, I wanted to also say that on Tuesday for that Celebration Motorsport, which was in the evening, like late afternoon, evening. Before that, I was just hanging out, talking to Renee Zellweger, unbeknownst to me. But they did the photo shoot for the poster for Laguna, and
like the 100
all the
years
winners.
Of Le Mans,
it was all the 100 years of Le Mans. Like, dude, that was really cool because
was Zort directing it, or who was?
No, I think it might have been Ron Kimball, who's like an old automotive photographer. But they had a cherry picker up high and overlooking everything and getting all the cars in a position. They're raking the gravel. They're like, it's a 2-hour photo shoot.
Where was it?
One picture.
Where did they shoot it?
At between turn.
They always do it on that straight
and turn 4.
Between 3 and 4.
Michelin straight.
Same place. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And so they got all the cars in place, and the first grouping they got was like 6 cars, and there was a lady next to me, and she was watching it too, and we were kind of hanging out. We were up in that second deck, and I was like, oh, they're just doing 6 cars. She's like, no, these are the multiple Le Mans winners.
Oh, sick.
And it's 300 SLR and 250 TR. And, 8-liter Bentley or, blower Bentley. I don't know which one, but
917 maybe, or
I think there was a 917. Yeah.
Or 956.
It was like
or 962, sorry.
Like an insane group of cars, right? Just by itself. And then they started adding them, and it's all by generation, and it goes all the way back to like that Speed 8, the Bentley, and then some other weird
Was there
stuff.
a 962 winner there?
I don't know if there
was.
was.
962's won what, like 5 years in a row or something crazy?
I think there was a 962. There was multiples like in attendance, so I would imagine they.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's the Bob Aiken car.
There's a Ford GT.
There's also the Rothman's car, right? Ike's car or Ike's car, Jackie Hicks.
Jackie Hicks.
Yeah. So, anyways, I got to watch that all go down, and then I'm talking to this lady, and I said, "Oh, this is amazing," and she goes, "Yeah, actually, that's my car right there, and it's an Alpine with a weird body."
Oh, the blue one.
Yeah,
that's
with like fins,
long tail. Yeah,
it's a long tail like art,
and that's a winner.
It was a winner.
Not overall though.
No, it
was a class winner, I guess, but. Then they did a rolling photo with 3 cars, and hers was selected. It was 250 Testarossa or GTO, black Ford GT, and her car rolling with like a truck in front taking pictures and video. And she was like kind of emotional. It was kind of rad because you think about it, like, where do you go from there? Like, that's cool. The highest honor, and you're in the photo, and then you're on these like rolling shots, and so she was super stoked, and she was a very like normal lady. She has a collection in New Jersey. She had like a mechanic with her, and they were watching it all go down. So kind of cool. See behind the scenes.
Did you tell her that you have a Dakar Yellow E36 M3? I think
we were Mighty Max swapping stories about Mighty Maxes to start, but it was
late model Mighty Maxes.
Late model.
No chrome grill or
no rear
painted
bumper,
grill?
No spare tire.
Mostly like 93 to 95s.
Yeah, that late model.
Slug tops.
Yeah, last of the very last.
The greats.
Yeah. Well, maybe more stories will come up as we, think about it. We can always add to it. But trivia.
Yeah.
It's trivia time, guys. Come on. The reason that we gather in Pebble Beach and Monterey for this thing is because they used to have a race through the woods.
Yeah.
Pebble Beach road races. And that was super dangerous. And they decided to move it over to the Army base. They had a plot of land and build a racetrack called Laguna Seca. When did that track open, and who was the first winner? What car?
Oh, man, I have no idea.
What car won the first race at Laguna Seca, and when did that happen?
I want to say it was like 61 or something.
That's a good guess.
61
I'll
from
say
Lane.
62.
And I would say...
Before you go any further, Lane wins 1957.
Oh, 57.
November 9, 1957. And what car won?
I'm going to say it's kind of out there, but 550 Spider.
That's a very good guess.
It's probably too slow for that.
It's amazing that they built that track so big and fast. I mean, obviously it's
so
changed.
fast, dude. But it's changed a lot.
It has.
Mm-hmm. It used to be even faster. It was a lot more open. 57.
But going from Pebble Beach, 17-mile drive and those windy roads around trees and elevation and stuff.
To build
this huge highway.
To build a non-flowing kind of like
big,
wide
big
open track. Yeah.
Yeah. In the 50s.
A stick and grip track.
Rip it and grip it.
Stick it and grip it.
Run, I like run what you brung. It doesn't apply here really, but I guess that they run 57. Is it some crazy American car?
Could be a Corvette or something.
What about a Devon bodied something?
Oh, it could be that one, that yellow thing. What's that thing called?
Oh, the yellow thing.
The one that they always talk about every year.
White walls?
What's that thing called?
I don't remember, but I know
Old Yeller?
Old Yeller.
Old Yeller.
yeah, it was Old Yeller.
I'll let Lane have this one. I've got nothing.
No guess. You have zero guess.
55 Chevy.
Ferrari 500 TR.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's good provenance for them, right? They
That's cool.
Yeah, I think this is a little black and white photo
That's rad.
of it back in the day. People
sweet.
up on the hill. There's
how cool to be to like
stands.
go back to that. Just teleport back to the first race.
Unbelievable. Just hoard like every little piece of ephemera, every like.
Yeah. Was there any like tragedies or anything, or was it a clean race? I wonder.
Well, it says that there was like a winner, right? 60 years ago. But it was Pete Lovely who was driving a Ferrari 500 TR, and it was an SCCA National Sports Car Championship event. So there you go.
He was a lovely driver.
Lovely driver. Yeah, that'd be very cool. There was a documentary I watched. I believe it was on Amazon. It was so bad. It was like
I've seen the same one.
Like History of Looking to Sick or something?
It was like Pebble Beach first, and then they showed it later. But they had footage, and it was just like
why is there not like a good doc on that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember that the thing that stuck with me about that doc was about like the servicemen coming back from Europe after the war and how they wanted more agile, lightweight like sports cars that they had there, and that's where they started basically. Right. Initially, they started racing MGs here and like those types of cars.
Yeah, Triumphs. That's what stuck with you. Mine was they had literally footage of guys crashing like an MG, flipping it, getting ejected, getting out and walking back to the pits.
That was the norm back then.
I know.
So you just kind of.
I know. It's a different time.
Yeah, for sure.
That's podcast. Okay.
Bye.
Later.
See ya.